Film production can be a really dangerous business. As we discussed in our video about 10 incredibly hard to shoot movie scenes, getting the perfect action shot can sometimes mean pulling off very risky stunts that have the potential to go disastrously wrong. Fortunately, most productions have plenty of precautions and safeguards in place, which means that on-set deaths are very rare. But there are still some famous cases of actors who died while filming, and others who died before they could finish their current projects. Here are Screen Rant's 10 actors who died during a movie's production. Heath Ledger. The Dark Knight actor Heath Ledger sadly didn't live to enjoy the critical acclaim and his Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, as he died of an accidental prescription drug overdose 6 months before The Dark Knight arrived in theaters. The Joker wasn't Ledger's final role though. At the time of his death, Ledger was a little over a month into filming Terry Gilliam's fantasy film The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, in which he played a central role. Following the actor's death, Gilliam came up with the idea of having Ledger's character change his appearance and enlisted the help of Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell to take over the role in scenes that Ledger hadn't yet got around to filming.
Who are you, dear?
With their help, the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus was completed and became the final piece of Ledger's legacy. Jon Erik Hexum. There's a dangerous misconception that guns loaded with blanks are harmless, when the truth is that blanks can do a whole lot of damage when fired at very close range. This was the fate that befell Jon Erik Hexum on the set of the CBS action adventure series Cover Up, in which he played a CIA agent working undercover as a model. During a filming delay, Hexum began jokingly playing Russian roulette with a .44 Magnum loaded with blanks. The gun was pressed right up against his temple when it went off, firing the wadding from the blank into Hexum's skull, causing a massive brain hemorrhage. After being declared brain dead, Hexum was eventually taken off life support. Brandon Lee. The vigilante superhero movie The Crow has become a cult classic since its original release in 1994, but the film is notorious for another reason. Brandon Lee, son of Bruce Lee, played the movie's main character, Eric Draven, a rock star who's brought back from the dead to avenge his own murder and the death of his girlfriend. In a scene where Eric returns home to find his girlfriend being attacked, actor Michael Massey fired a prop gun at Lee, not knowing that the prop crew had accidentally left a fragment of a real bullet inside it. The bullet struck Lee in the abdomen, and despite being rushed to the hospital and undergoing 6 hours of surgery, the wound cost him his life. Lee was just 28 years old. Paul Walker. Paul Walker was a mainstay of the Fast and Furious franchise from the very beginning, and his appearances in the movie spanned over a decade, from his first appearance in The Fast and the Furious to his final portrayal of Brian O'Connor in Furious 7. 2 months into production on Furious 7, Walker was killed when the driver of the Porsche he was traveling in crashed the car into a lamppost and 2 trees at high speed. Following the accident, Universal put production on hold to give the cast and crew time to grieve, and to give director James Wan time to figure out how to rework the film. Furious 7 was eventually completed using Paul Walker's brothers, Caleb and Cody, as stand-ins for his character, with a combination of camera trickery and CGI used to complete Brian's story. Vic Morrow. Like Brandon Lee and Jon Erik Hexum, actor Vic Morrow's death was a result of an accident on set, which is easily one of the most horrifying tales in the film industry. Morrow was filming Time Out, a segment of Twilight Zone the movie, in which a racist gets a taste of his own medicine when he's cast back in time and assumes the ethnicities of those he was prejudiced against. During a scene in which Morrow's character finds himself in the Vietnam War, a helicopter hovering overhead was damaged by a nearby pyrotechnic explosion and crashed, decapitating Morrow and killing 2 child actors he was carrying. Several people involved in the production, including director John Landis, were put on trial for involuntary manslaughter, but were ultimately acquitted. Oliver Reed. Ridley Scott's historical epic Gladiator won a handful of awards in 2001, including the award for Best Visual Effects. Among the visual effects used in the film were early CGI techniques that completed actor Oliver Reed's scenes as Antonius Proximo, the gladiator trainer who becomes a mentor to Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Are you not entertained?
Reed died of a heart attack towards the end of filming, and his character